What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Adam. Chaos to Comeback. I'm just kind of having one of those weeks. I'm interested to see how things go over the next few weeks. I think it's going to start picking up. Energy, that's what I'm trying to do right now. I feel like it feels like I'm in a funk, but I think it's more like I need to rest. I need to recover. It's one of those, you went through almost 3 years of trauma, complete and total balls to the wall trauma, and you finally got to a place where you feel like you have a home now. It's not perfect, it's not even close, but I finally reached a place where I could just relax, and my body's like, okay, now it's time to relax. Now it's time. And so it's kind of like I'm fighting this desire to just want to go to bed for 6 months, like Sleeping Beauty. Wake up when my princess comes and gives me a smooch off to the Magic Castle or wherever you go. But yeah, that ain't how girls don't. It don't work like that for guys. You go to bed, take a nap. No girl's gonna come and pick you up. She's looking for the guy that makes the money. So you ain't gonna make no money taking a nap. So anyway, if you like what I'm doing here, like, share, subscribe, share the videos, post them somewhere. Be like, hey, check this guy out. I don't know. Probably never gonna grow beyond the number of subscribers I have today. You get 2, you lose 3, you gain 4, you lose 1, you gain 3, you lose 2. It just kind of stays at the same number. YouTube's got that shit figured out. If they don't want you, they gave me just enough subscribers so that I can qualify for the monetization. Then they're like, all right, as long as he wants to keep posting videos, we'll take those pennies. We'll take all them pennies. Because if you shut down 30,000 YouTube content creators that you don't like what they're saying, but you give them just enough, so they can keep posting videos, don't kick them off the platform, just keep them from growing. You'll make millions of dollars. When you add all those pennies up, they add up to millions of dollars. So anyway, give me the thumbs up if you want. Somebody will show up and do a thumbs down, whatever. I don't care. If 10 people show up right away and give a thumbs up, it boosts the algorithm and it tricks them into showing my video to more people. But whatever, I don't care. I do the live stream. I'm doing videos on a delay now. That's what I'm doing for now. So any commentary, anything I'm talking about happened a week ago, 2 weeks ago, I don't know. I'm not going to record a video every day. Sometimes I might record 3 videos in a day. Sometimes none. I want one to show up every day because the YouTube algorithm appreciates it when you come every day. So I've scheduled videos all the way. Today's Friday. I got a video scheduled every day from here to next Saturday. Next Sunday. A week from Sunday is the next time I gotta have other videos ready. I've already got a handful. All I gotta do is do whatever needs to be done to get them up there. So if you want the live up to the minute update of whatever's going on, pop in for the live stream every Thursday from 6 to 8 Central Standard Time, 7 to 9 Eastern Standard Time, and whatever it is where you live, no commercials. As soon as that live stream is over, I'm turning them things on. You're watching the ads. But if you come for the live stream, it's a 2-hour free-for-all, whatever. It's been fun. It's been fun for the last few weeks. I'm glad I did it. I wanted to do it for a long time. I just never had a stable enough internet connection to support it. Now my internet connection seems fine. So if you want to support the channel, you could go down there below. I do have a couple thank yous to send out for that. And, we'll go from there. But speaking of income and figuring out how to generate some revenue streams, you can't, I'm not old enough yet, but Social Security could be one of those revenue streams coming up. I don't know. How old do you have to be? When can you collect? So 62. It says the 62 is the... People are asking questions. Is it better to collect? Generally, it's better to wait till 70. Whatever. I'm taking it the day it's available. I don't care. Because you're not making enough from Social Security to... Who cares? Why are you going to wait 10 years to get... You might not live those 10 years. You may as well get your money now. Benjamin Franklin, our founding father, once said, "Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary security deserve neither liberty nor safety." Or security. I butchered that a little bit, but you get what I'm saying. Those who would give up essential liberty to purchase a little temporary safety deserve neither liberty nor safety. When people are quoting him, they interchange security for safety. Same thing. You don't deserve, if you give up your freedom for safety, then you don't get either one in return. So you're going to give up half of your paycheck for some security, for some Social Security. You ain't getting shit in return. You're not getting security, and you're losing half your fucking paycheck. So right now I looked this up because I was watching one of these Generation X are fucked videos on YouTube, and it put me in a mood. I was working, this was in the background, and I'm just like, come on, why am I even working? We're just fucked. And so it wasn't the right thing to have on in the background. That's for sure. It was like going to, what's going on LinkedIn today? Yup. 10 seconds later, get me the fuck out of here, I'm gone. That was what that video felt like. Turns out, right now, from what I see, Social Security payments are $967 a month. And they're saying that for people 65 and older, the cost of living is about $60,000 a year. So if you're on Social Security, you got to come up with $48,000 a year to cover the rest of your living expenses to live in fucking squalor, basically. So we all know you're not supposed to live off of Social Security. It's more like that's like basic income. It's like it's not supposed to be what you live on, but they rob your paycheck your whole fucking life just to give you a handful of peanuts. If you were able to invest that Social Security money yourself into like an IRA, you'd have enough money to retire. Because right now, today, if you were to retire today and you want that basic level of subsistence to make $60,000 a year, you need $1.5 million in your retirement account right now so that you can pull $5,000 a month out of it and stay afloat. And that doesn't count for inflation. By the time I'm 70 years old, anything that costs $100 today is going to cost $500 by then. So you're going to need $10 million. And I'm going to need $10 million in a fucking IRA to be able to not die and live when I'm 60 years old and nobody will give me a job. The fucking dollar menu, the dollar menu at McDonald's is going to be the $20 menu. And then these motherfuckers are going to charge, if it's going to be a hamburger for $20. And if you want it to be a cheeseburger, they're going to charge you $5 for a piece of fucking cheese. So, all of you old Gen Xers are going to be talking about, remember when you could get a McDonald's cheeseburger for $1? And now it's $25 for a fucking cheeseburger. Your fucking meal deal. The meal deal where you get a tiny Big Mac. It'll be half the size of a Big Mac of today, which is half the size of a Big Mac when a Big Mac came out. It's going to be a tiny ass, little tiny Big Mac that's like a slider. It's going to be like a Big Mac slider with some a handful of shitty French fries and a thing of pop. And it's going to be $120. You think your $1.5 million in your retirement account is going to go very far by the time that happens? No, it's fuck. You're fucked. You're fucked. Half of Generation X right now, only half of Gen X right now even has a 401k. Everybody in Generation X right now, 1 out of every 2 even has a 401k. The median savings of all Gen X is 40 grand. And when it's really skewed, because that means half are above, half are below. But it's really the average. But that's really skewed because you got some people who are got like millions, maybe billions, whatever the fuck, and that skews it all. So put it this way, one third of Gen X has less than 10 grand to their name. That's 1 out of every 3 people that were born in that age range. Less than 10 grand. I would say half of that don't even have a grand. I'm not even 1,000-aire right now. I'm 100-aire, but I'm not. I gotta work my ass off just to become 1,000-aire someday. Let alone a fucking millionaire. I'm not even 1,000-aire. So, I got a ways to go. Gen X, man, we got a ways to go to get that 1.5 million in the bank so that we can survive when they don't let us have a job anymore. Our fucking kids, Gen X's kids don't even have $100. They don't even have $100. Like, and they never will. They're never gonna have $100. They can't. How the fuck are they supposed to have $100 when they can't afford anything and nobody will fucking give them a job or pay them? You know, I'm sorry to tell you, kids, you're fucked. That's just the way it is. Your great grandparents, they fucked us all. And if they were still alive right now, they'd tell all of you to shut the fuck up, stop being so fucking lazy, go get yourself a house. Like I did. Like great grandpa pulled himself up by his bootstraps with his $25,000 a year salary to buy his $5,000 house. But now the average income is $40,000 a year and the average home price is 400 grand. Yeah, oh yeah, just like my grandfather did. You can just go right out there and pick yourself up and go get a house. You lazy motherfucker, yeah. Fuck you. Fuck you. How the fuck is anybody supposed to do this? Generation X doesn't even have 10 grand saved up for retirement, and now we're all getting shoved out of the workforce. They were telling me I'm too old to do my job when I turned 30, and now I'm 50 in the fucking tech industry. While these 150-year-old baby boomer assholes are still in charge of the fucking government. Nancy Pelosi, these people can't even fucking stand up on their own 2 feet anymore, and they're still in charge. They've been in charge of the government since before I was born, and they're still there. They're still there. Has anybody from Generation X ever get a chance to go to Congress? These fucking boomers, they gobbled everything up and they left the rest of us with not a thing. It's like, when the fuck do I get a turn to be some 90-year-old scumbag in Congress who's been in office before I was born, building up a $500 million fortune on a $100,000 a year salary. When the fuck do I get to do that? We don't get to do that shit. That's over. That's the boomers game. Fuck, man. I'm not blaming you boomers. I know I got some boomers watching the channel right now and they're just like, the fuck, dude? And they're gonna leave me some shitty ass comment telling me to get off my lazy ass and go make my 400 large to get myself a shitty house that's all falling apart. Just like they did when they were 22 years old and that house that they bought cost $4,000. Yeah, great. But it's not the boomers' fault. It really isn't. It's the ruling class. They fucked us. I definitely blame those guys more than the boomers. But, we're in Generation X. We knew that we were powerless to do anything about this shit. We all knew that we lived in a rigged system, more or less, with no chance in hell before we were even old enough to vote. I mean, we all knew that. We lived it. We knew that from when we were like 10 years old. Our people are starting to tell us how shit works, and we're just like, huh? How the fuck are you supposed to do that? Huh? Oh, so when I'm 25 years old, a house is going to be $300,000. What? Like, we were all told that we had no fucking chance. Like, our parents are living large, going to the fuck. They have all kinds of money to spend, and they're just looking at us kids. They're like, hey, well, we're living all right, but you're fucked. And no, it wasn't like that for everybody. The ruling class, back when Grandpa bought his house for $5,000 on a $25,000 a year salary or whatever, and now that house, that rundown old farmhouse, is worth $700,000. But the $700,000 isn't worth shit anyway. Back then, though, the average CEO of a company made about 20 times more than the average employee of that company. And now the average CEO of a company makes 2,000 times what the average employee of that company would make. That's how Mark Zuckerberg bought a yacht that was like $1 billion, what was it, $300 million for a yacht, and then another few $1 million for the side yacht, because the yacht wasn't big enough to hold all of his fucking shit. So he has to have another yacht follow the yacht that has all of his toys on it. It's like a play yacht. It's like a kid has a bedroom, but they might have a playroom in the house if you're lucky and you could afford a house. Well, Mark Zuckerberg's got a yacht, and then he's got a play yacht off to the side that follows him around, because the big yacht that has enough room to house 150 people on it isn't big enough for the helicopters and the jet skis and the fucking race cars and everything else that he brings along with him when he's going out on his fucking boat. So, and this yacht costs $90,000 a day to operate, but for Mark Zuckerberg to pay $90,000 a day to drive his boat, that's like you paying for your Netflix subscription every month. Like, that's the percentage of your income that you pay for Netflix, which is, you think, oh, no big deal, $10 a month, $20 a month, whatever. I don't know what it costs now. I don't have Netflix. But let's say it's $15 a month out of your budget. You make this much money every month. You're throwing $15 so you can watch some Squid Games and whatever other show you want to get into. And that's the same as Mark Zuckerberg spending $90,000 on his yacht. He's like, it's $90,000 a day. So, I mean, that's $90,000 a day. It adds up in the month to what, $90,000 times a fucking month. That's a lot. It's more math than I can do right now. That's the same to Mark Zuckerberg as you paying your Netflix subscription every month. He didn't give a fuck. It's like, just throw the money at it. He's got so much fucking money, he could never spend it. He could spend all the money he has and the next day wake up having twice as much money. Who fucking knows? But the rest of us are fucked. And it's even worse for, my kids. Good luck, kids. I don't know what the fuck to tell you. And you wonder why these kids are rioting all the time when they don't get their way, burning down the fucking city, throwing rocks at the windows, all this shit. It's like, well, I don't wonder. I know why. There's nothing else to fucking do anymore. Let's go to the riot. What are you doing today? I don't know. Let's go to the riot. There's nothing else to fucking do. We can't afford. If you're 20 years old, you can't even afford a Netflix subscription or a fucking TV. Well, fuck it. Let's go throw some rocks at the windows. Burn down our town. That's fun. All right, let's watch it. Yeah, it'd be fun. Get some marshmallows and some graham crackers, and we'll have some s'mores. What the fuck, dude? You think your fucking kids are ever going to be able to afford a house? Get the fuck out of here. That's why, you ever notice these days that we call a kid, some fucking kid, a hustler or a go-getter when they spend a ridiculous amount of money to build a tiny little shack in their backyard, like the size of a doghouse, the size of a bathroom stall maybe, in their parents' backyard, and we call it a tiny house, and we go, wow, what a smart kid. That kid really has his shit together. All that kid is, he knows he has no fucking chance of hell of ever getting anywhere in life, and the only way he's ever going to be able to move out of his fucking parents' house is to build himself a little dog house out in the fucking backyard. And now we call him a go-getter. We call him, he's a hustler. Look at that, he built his own tiny house. And it still costs the kid like 50 grand to build a fucking dog house in the backyard. Sometimes they put it on a trailer with a fucking hitch so they can hook it up to the back of a pickup truck if they could ever afford one of those, and maybe tow it to an empty lot somewhere and live in that shit. Because that's about the closest they can ever get anymore from moving out of mom and dad's house. I mean, that's where we're at right now, kids. So, yeah, do I wonder why all these kids run around talking about how communism is so cool? Well, I mean, that's really how communist dictatorships have formed throughout history. You basically fuck all the kids. You make it so that they have absolutely no chance in hell, and they're going to have to struggle and toil and work every day of their life for not even enough money to ever be able to survive off of it. And then you tell them, hey, if you vote for us or you let us take over, we're going to feed you, we're going to take care of you, and we're going to build you a place to live. How does that sound? Fuck yeah, where do I sign up? So, yeah, I mean, I'm fine with dying at this point. I don't give a fuck. I really don't give a fuck. I mean, I'm not going to kill myself. I'm too stubborn for that. I want to... If there's a chance that, like, Hillary Clinton could ever go to jail, for example, like, we know that's never going to happen, but I don't want to kill myself and then find out when I get to hell or heaven, oh, Hillary Clinton went to jail the next day. You should have stuck around. It was fucking awesome. It was great TV. Damn it. So I'm too stubborn. I'm going to stick around. I am not going to die until I'm going to fight for every last breath I can take. Because fuck you, that's why. I'm not going to die. You're going to have to force me to die. Or you're going to have to do something. I mean, I'm fine with it. But here's the thing. You got two choices. Do I die like my parents did? My dad choosing to watch I Love 80s reruns on VH1s, laying in a fucking hospice bed for 6 months. Or like my mom, laying in a hospice bed watching a marathon episode of Reba on the country music channel on TV while she's coloring in a fucking coloring book the last weekend on Earth. Or do I just want to go out for a bike ride and get run over by a fucking douchebag in a giant Dodge Ram pickup truck? I mean, that don't seem too bad. I mean, it's like I'm riding, and boom, I'm not. And that's it. Like, don't gotta fucking lay in no hospital bed watching fucking, just going like this with the fucking remote. I got 300 fucking channels and there's nothing to fucking watch. Jesus. Like, yeah, I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need to be laying in a fucking bed for 6 months going, am I gonna die tomorrow? Or do I gotta wait another fucking week? Fuck. But I don't know, today I'm having a random week. So speaking of death, of course, I had to, I start thinking about death a little bit, and then that leads to what else but Star Wars. And I'm just having random thoughts. I'm like, the Death Star. Talking about death, let's talk about the Death Star. Why not? Why not? I mean, if some fucking big giant spaceship showed up in the sky and blew up the planet, oh, well, fuck it. I lived a good life. I'm good. There's really nothing left to do. So I don't feel like I'm going to be missing out on anything. Oh, I'm going to miss out on the apocalypse. Boy, that fucking sucks. I really wanted to be here for that. Oh, I wanted to be here for the day that I can't work anymore, and yet I don't have 10 grand in my 401k, and now I can't even afford to eat bugs, let alone food. Yeah, great. Can't wait for that shit. Yeah, I'm fine with it. Fucking aliens want to show up and nuke this bitch. Have at it. Have at it. I'm fine. I've done enough. Sorry, kids. I don't give a fuck. When you're 50 years old, living this fucking shitty ass world, you're not going to give a fuck either. You won't. I've seen enough. But I'm certain that, okay, so the Death Star. Let's talk about the Death Star for a minute. It's basically the size of a planet. And I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm on this Star Wars kick lately, and I'm like, wait a minute. How is Luke Skywalker and Han Solo able to find Princess Leia on this planet-sized spaceship, rescue her, and get back to the Millennium Falcon so quick? I mean, in less than an hour. They're like, we get there, we got the princess, we come back, we're gone. But the thing's the size of a fucking planet. I'm like, did they not keep the prisoners on the opposite side of the Death Star from where they pull in the space pirates with the tractor beam, just as maybe a security precaution? Princess Leia could have been 1,200 miles away from Luke and Han Solo, for fuck's sake. I mean, that would be like traveling from Anchorage, Alaska to Miami, Florida, picking up the princess and getting back there in less than an hour. And I'm like, how the fuck does that even work? For example, the moon, that's 2,159 miles wide, for crying out loud. How are you going to get from one side of the moon and back to the other side of the moon in an hour? And that also, you have to believe that the world is round to understand what I'm talking about. But anyway, so I'm curious. I had to look this up on Wikipedia. Turns out that the Death Star is actually 99 miles wide. And the Death Star 2 in Return of the Jedi is 120 miles wide. Okay, that narrows it down a little bit. So now, it's like going from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. But here in America, we don't have a bullet train like they do in Japan, so that's not possible. You can't go from Philadelphia to Washington, D.C. in an hour. That's more like 8 hours with the Beltway traffic. I mean, if the roads were empty and the roads were clear, you could probably do it in under 2 hours one way. But I guess if the Death Star, you gotta think, Japan, they got these trains in Japan that go 300 miles an hour. So they probably got some sort of galactic bullet train on the Death Star to take people around the Death Star with. And so it probably goes 300 miles an hour comfortably. And so you could get to the other side of the Death Star and back about 20 minutes each way. You could get the round trip's 40 minutes. You could get there, get the princess, have 20 minutes to battle it out with the stormtroopers and bang, 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 and go down the garbage chute and come back out the other side and all that kind of crap and get back to the Millennium Falcon and poof, you're gone. You could do it. So I guess the writers really did think it through. The more I looked into this, I'm like, it is possible to get from one side of the Death Star to the other, get the princess, come back, get the fuck out of there in under an hour. You could do it. You could do it. So, I was ignorant, but now I'm educated. But we're talking about right now. We're talking about that's if the Death Star is round, not flat. So I'm still right now. I'm looking at when it comes to Earth, I'm still on team round when it comes to the Earth. And that maybe that's just because I've been brainwashed my whole life with things like facts and shadows and seasons and position of the sun and the fact that it shows up there in the morning and it sits over there at the end of the day every day, and just shit like that. Science, things like that. I'm pretty convinced that it's round. But I don't know. I do listen to the flat earth people. I listen to everything they say. I'm fine with it. That's the main difference between me and you people that call me a conspiracy theorist. I'll actually listen to what the other people are saying. And I'll be like, And then I do this weird shit after I listen to both sides of the argument. And a lot of you kids, you don't know anything about this, but some of us grown-ups, we do these things. We do this, or we used to do this thing called making up your own mind after you listen to both sides of the story, instead of just shutting people out and saying no, you're wrong, without hearing them talk, without hearing any evidence, without hearing them make a case. That's like when the judge, that would be like going to court. It is just like going to court in the federal system, where the prosecutor is like, blah, 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 blah. He did this, he did that, he did this, he did that, he did that, and this. And then your defense attorney starts to speak. Well, Your Honor, shut up! Sit down, shut up! And your defense attorney never gets to talk, never gets to make a case. He's guilty! Sit down, shut up! That's it. That's how it works in the federal court. It's basically the same as when you call me a conspiracy theorist, and then I say, hey, in my defense, shut up! Objection! That's the judge yelling at you. I have an objection. You sit down and shut up. Overruled, sustained, sit the fuck down, shut up, don't talk. You're guilty. Go home. Go to jail. That's your home now. So, but I do this thing called making up my own mind, and that's not something people really like to do anymore, but I'll still do it. So I listen to the flat earth people, and so you even got like the propaganda machine out there, and you got these shows like Star Wars and all these other things telling us that Star Trek, and that there's worlds, and all the worlds are round, and the earth is round, but then you got other shows like Game of Thrones or The Truman Show, things like that. The Dome, some Stephen King show about living under a dome or whatever. Like, they're telling us that the world is flat and we live under a dome surrounded by a giant wall of ice that you can't go past, or that the giant wall of ice is protecting us from something that's out there that you don't want to know. And so that's why the UN logo looks the way it does, with the North Pole in the middle of the Earth, and the whole Earth is flat and round, and Antarctica is actually a wall of ice that goes around the whole thing. And that's why we never go to Antarctica, and that's why we never talk about Antarctica. Oh, it's cold, it's ice, you don't go there. We don't talk about that shit. It's just there. It's, well, no, you can't go to Antarctica. You know what I mean? Like, we don't talk about that. So I can, I get it. Like, I could see it going both ways at this point. But to be honest, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck whether the world is round or flat. I don't care. It's not like I can go anywhere anymore. So why the fuck do I care about whether the earth is round or whether it's flat? I'm stuck in Houston, Texas, the eastern part of Texas at the max. That's where I can go. I'm on federal probation for the next 2 years, and that's the only place I can go. And when probation is over, I won't really be able to go anywhere anyway. I won't be able to. There's really not too many places I can go with a felony conviction to leave the United States and see the rest of this world, whether it's flat or round. Who gives a fuck at this point? I can't see it, so who cares? I don't give a fuck. I mean, even if the world is a globe and it's round, I'm pretty much stuck to the United States from here on. And that's even though my world is still fucking flat. It's really not that much curve between New York and LA. It's just kind of an arch. So my world is flat, no matter what the fuck the rest of the world is. And so I don't give a fuck anymore. I don't care. Don't care what the fuck it is. Doesn't matter to me. Flat Earth people say, we can't go to outer space because there is no outer space. It's a dome, and space rockets just bounce off the dome when they get up too high. Okay, I don't see why I need to give a fuck. It's like if I have to be rich, like Katy Perry, just so I can go to outer space for 20 seconds and come back down, well, that's never gonna happen. So why the fuck do I care? I don't give a fuck. Fine, it's a dome, it's outer space. I don't give a shit. I'm not going there. Why do I need to know what's there? I don't care. I can't even go to fucking Canada ever again for the rest of my life as a convicted felon. So I'm pretty sure that outer space is not on the table anymore. It's not for me anymore. It's not. My dreams of being an astronaut died when the Space Shuttle Challenger blew up when I was in the 4th grade. That shit was over. In fact, when we all watched the Space Shuttle blow up on TV when I was in the 4th grade, I'll never forget it. I started to think, I'm like, because everybody wanted to be an astronaut. Like, all the kids wanted to be an astronaut. That's pretty much, you ask any little kid back then in the 80s, what do you want to be? I want to be an astronaut. I'm going to be an astronaut. I'm going to go to outer space. I'm going to go to the moon. I'm going to see what's on Mars. That's what we were talking about. That's what all the kids wanted to be an astronaut, even the girls. Because they were telling us, they're like, oh, girls could be an astronaut too. But after that space shuttle blew up, boom, I'm like, maybe I'll be an artist. Maybe I'll grow up. I like to draw. I'm going to grow up to be an artist, man. You don't see Bob Ross blowing up in a fucking spaceship, but he definitely gets just as high. So, hey, that might be the career for me. I'm just gonna sit down here on Earth and paint some happy little trees after I smoke some happy little trees, and I'm not at that point. I'm not even gonna pass the piss test from NASA to get on the fucking space shuttle or whatever rocket ship they got now. I'm not. After 2 years of art school, I'm surprised I could pass the fucking P test to be on probation and not go back to prison. So, but I did. Woo! It doesn't last for 20 years. But I do find it funny that all of the astronauts on the Challenger space shuttle, you can look this up. Don't argue with me. Just go find out for yourself. All those people are still alive. That you can find them on fucking LinkedIn. You picture and everything. These fucking people didn't even have to change their fucking names. That's how easy it was for the government to lie to us back in the 80s because we didn't have the internet. And so Walter Cronkite and a couple of fucking newspapers could just make up some bullshit and then everybody believes it and then that's what it is. But all these fucking people, you can look this up. People have done the homework. You can find that all these astronauts that died on the Space Shuttle Challenger, they're all living their best life right now. They didn't even change their fucking names. You can see the pictures, you can see the name, you can be like, wow. And it's like if there were one or two outliers, you could be like, yeah, but no, when you look at like all 8 of them, the before and after picture, and you see that their name didn't even change, and they're like, I'm a professor of such and such here's my LinkedIn profile. Like, holy fuck. They used to say that Krista McAuliffe, the teacher who was supposed to be the first civilian, the school teacher that they were going to send into outer space, they all used to tell me that she had dandruff. because they found Head and Shoulders all over the beach. And that was the thing back in the day. Turns out she never even got on the fucking ride. She never got on the ride. But instead, you know, we shoot Katy Perry up into space for 20 seconds, and then we had to bring her back down. Like, why the fuck couldn't we just leave her up there? Why couldn't we just leave her up there? Give her a phone with a camera and an unlimited power supply so she can take selfies all fucking day and just let her float. Let her float to Mars or wherever the fuck she's gonna go. Why do we gotta bring her? Why do we have to bring her back? I don't get it. But yeah, go look that stuff up yourself. I'm not gonna spend, you want me to spend 2 hours going over the profile of all the astronauts on the Challenger and where you can find them on LinkedIn, and here's where they work now, and you know, here it's the same fucking guy, the same name, the same face, only, you know, 80, 90, you know, 30, 40 years later. But no, these people are still around. It's fucking weird. Some weird shit going on. That's all I'm gonna say. Look it up. Don't believe me. Don't believe me. Go find out for yourself, or don't. I don't give a fuck. I give as much of a fuck about that as I give a fuck about whether the world is round or not, because it doesn't matter to me. My world is flat. Houston's fucking flat. Flat. Like, the biggest hill that I can ride my bike on right now is called Taco Hill. And it's a bridge that goes like a taco, up and then down over another expressway. And that's a hill now. That's the biggest hill I got. I don't know, man. Back in the day, people were put to death. People were put to death for believing that the world is round. Even when those people came up with experiments and proof, and they could say, you know, look at the moon, look at the sun, they're round. Maybe the earth is round too. Look through this tube. Through this tube I got. Look at these. These are called planets. That's Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. They're round. So that means the earth is probably round too. Kill him! Kill him! The earth is flat. The earth is flat. People had to lay down their lives to tell us that the earth is round. And now we're going back in the other direction, and now people are trying to say that the earth is flat, and we're all wrong. So I'm like, maybe we'll get to the point where they start killing people off for trying to tell us the truth, that the world really is flat, and we've been lied to our whole lives that the world is round, and it's not. Maybe we've been fed a lie for the last several hundred years, and Galileo and all that shit was just make-believe, and it was all just to tell us a big giant lie. And here's the thing. First of all, I don't give a fuck. The earth is flat, the earth is round, whatever, I don't care. Don't care anymore. Has absolutely no fucking bearing on my life anymore, at all. So, you know what? Here's what's going to happen. We're going to find out someday the earth is actually a cylinder. It's not round and it's not flat. It's a tube. It's flat on one end, flat on the other, in a round tube going from the top to the bottom. That way, it spins just like a ball, but it's a cylinder. We live on the top part, which is flat. So it is flat. It's basically, it spins around like a giant piece of gyro meat on a fucking thing at the Greek restaurant where you get your gyros, right? And we're just on the top slab of that. And maybe the sides are covered in ice. So the ice sticks up. And so we're in this thing surrounded by a big ice wall. The sides of the cylinder are covered in ice. And then on the bottom part, there's a whole nother thing going on down there that we don't know about. And that's where all the aliens come from. Whenever there's an alien invasion, they're not coming from another planet somewhere. They're coming from the bottom of the cylinder, and they found out how to get up to our part of the cylinder. So then it'll turn out, once we find out that the earth isn't flat and it's not round, it's actually a cylinder, we can all just shut the fuck up because everybody was wrong. And so you're thinking now, you're like, what in the fuck is going on with Adam? What does this have to do with chaos to come back? Well, let's talk about the Tour de France, right? Like, they'll just bounce around to some other random thing, and then I'm going to tie it back together and show you how it all makes sense. What does the Tour de France have to do with me? Isn't this channel supposed to be about chaos to comeback? And, well, I just said I can never go to Canada for the rest of my life, so I'm highly doubtful that I'm ever going to be able to go to France and see the Tour de France for myself. I'm just going to have to believe everything I see on TV and say, yup, it's real. They really do have this bike race in France, a place I've never been, I'm never going to go, I'm never going to see. I just have to believe it's there, even though I'm never going to get to see it myself. My chances of traveling the world are shot. It's over. Game over. I don't get to leave the United States anymore, unless I go to some third world shithole where they don't really care if I'm a felon or not. Like Mexico. Fucking someplace in Africa, maybe. I don't know, but I don't get to go much. I don't get to do much anymore. I don't even know why it would even be. I don't even think it's worth my time to get a fucking passport. I can get 3 stamps. That's it. It kind of does suck because I'm never going to get to go to France just to visit and see the bike race ever. But if I was an illegal immigrant from a Muslim country in Africa or somewhere in the Middle East, they'd let me right the fuck in. And they'd be like, here's some lovely French women to rape while you're in town. Everything. They're going to roll out the red carpet. I'm going to have a harem of 50 French women that I'm allowed to rape. And I guess if you're allowed to rape them, is it even rape anymore? They're gonna give me all the shit. They're going to let me stay as long as I want. If anybody complains about me being there, they're going to put them in prison. If a French person gets mad that I'm in France and I'm a Muslim and I just raped 10 French women, but is it rape if I don't get in trouble? If the government says, no, it's okay, you can do that. If anybody complains about it, they go to prison. I don't. They do. But I can't go to France because I'm an American with a criminal record. So, that's done. The only way I'm getting into France is if I got to fly to Saudi Arabia or Turkey or Iraq or Palestine or one of these places, and I got to save up a bunch of excuse me. I gotta save up a bunch of fucking pubic hair in a box or something, glue it to my face with some fucking rubber cement, give myself a fucking weird ass beard, put on a turban, get a fake passport from Iraq or wherever I'm coming from, and then I gotta get on a fucking inner tube or a raft and float to France. And then they're just gonna, come on in. Shut the badon. Here you go. Roll out the red carpet. What the fuck is this? Hold on a second. All right, so I don't know what. My phone was acting a fool. Yeah, I mean, that's the only way I'm getting into France. Even if I was the best cyclist in the world, they're not going to let me in to go race the Tour de France because I'm a felon. I could have gone to spinning class every day in federal prison and got myself in shape for the race, not getting a sponsor, not going to get let in. Even if I got a sponsor, I'm on a team, I won all the prerequisites to get in, no, it's not going to happen. The best I can do would be the national championship. And if that don't work out, the National Women's Championship would be next. I just tell everybody I'm a girl and you have to believe me. And if you don't, you're a bigot. And if that don't work, then I go to the Special Olympics and see what I can do. And you gotta believe me. If I'm handicapped, if I identify as handicapped, then I'm fucking handicapped. Does mentally handicapped qualify? I don't know. Get right in the door then. But anyway, Lance, what does this have to do with me? What does the Tour de France have to do with chaos to come back? We got Lance Armstrong. Boom. He admitted to cheating after it was proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that he cheated. He had to come out, he had to go sit on Oprah's couch, admit to everybody that he did it. and now he gets put in timeout. He had to go through all this shame and public humiliation for a while. Just like I have to go through a bunch of public humiliation and shame and being homeless and you're a piece of shit and all this other stuff. And Lance Armstrong got to come back. He got to come back. Yeah, he was already rich. He wasn't hurting that bad. He didn't have to lose his fucking mansion. But now he's back. Like, now he's actually back. He's done. He's done with timeout. He's making millions of dollars right now doing cycling commentary for NBC about the Tour de France. He's the cycling commentator now on NBC after the race. They're not, they haven't let him fully back in the door. But he's basically got like Tom Brady's job. Tom Brady wins a bunch of Super Bowls. Now Tom Brady gets paid $1 billion to be on TV and talk about football. Now Lance Armstrong, he cheated his way through 7 Tours de France's. I don't know what the plural is of a Tour de France, but he won 7 of them in a row, and then he didn't, but now maybe he did. But now he's doing cycling commentary like Tom Brady doing football commentary, making millions of dollars. Like, he's back. Let him back in. He's in timeout. Now he's back. It's like when you were a little kid. It's like when mom would say, all right, you go stand in the corner for a while before you come back out and play. And then, Lance Armstrong had to go stand in the corner for a little bit. He had to be shamed and publicly humiliated for a while. And now he gets to come out of the corner and go back and play in the sandbox. So that's what the Tour de France has to do with me. I'm in timeout right now. I have to go stand in the fucking corner because I said mean things and I got in trouble and went to prison for 2 years for saying words. And a bunch of people think I'm a piece of shit. And I gotta go through this public humiliation ritual and be homeless and lose everything I ever had and go through this whole fucking thing. And then there's gonna come a day where they're like, okay, Adam, you're not in timeout anymore. You can go get a job now. You can do your thing. We'll make you rich and famous. We'll figure it out. Welcome back to the club, buddy. Welcome back. Hasn't happened yet, but everybody, all these people that get their Hollywood timeout, they get to come back and play again. If it turned out that Tom Hanks did rape a bunch of kids on Jeffrey Epstein Island, he's going to go to timeout for a bit. He'll do a bit in prison, maybe a couple years, whatever the fuck they do. And then he'll be back out and they'll be like, how about we make Castaway 2? How about we make it'll be just like when you'll be right back on the island again. We know how much you like being on the island, Tom. How about we go film Castaway 2? We'll bring some kids along while we're filming, and we'll find an island out in the middle of the Pacific Ocean that fucking, man, it'll be 1,000 miles from the closest island. Tom, you're gonna fucking love it. And then Castaway 2 is #1 in the box office, and he's right back on his game. He'll get like the 2-year timeout for raping kids on Jeffrey Epstein Island. So anyway, that's how the Tour de France relates to me, and I may as well just give you the commentary about Stage 13. The Tour de France ended 4 days ago, 21 stages. I'm watching Stage 17. I don't even know if I'll finish watching it today. I can do one stage like every day or two. 1 or 2 days to watch a stage. I already know who won. You couldn't avoid those headlines if you tried. It's like trying to wait until Tuesday to watch the Super Bowl on TiVo because you were out of town. You're not even gonna you're not even gonna be home from being out of town and without knowing who won the fucking Super Bowl. You're gonna go eat at a restaurant. People are gonna be talking about it at the table next to you. I know who won now. It doesn't even matter. I don't even have to watch the game. You're gonna know everything that happened in the game. So-and-so broke his leg. Someone broke a finger. Tom Brady had to go sit down because he's too old, can't play. Whatever. Some new thing. So anyway. Stage 13, Tour de France, 2025. You're probably watching it in 2026, I don't know. You're not going to get the same commentary that you got from Lance Armstrong. But, you know, he's getting paid the big bucks. I'm not. So, you're getting the post-race commentary. So it's 11 kilometers, stage 13. It's a time trial. Time trial is when the riders race against the clock one at a time instead of in a big group. So it's different. They're against the clock. When you ride by yourself, you can't ride as fast as you can in a group. And it really does separate the best riders from the worst. It's its own discipline. The Tour de France is basically, it's 21 separate bicycle races. Each stage is its own thing with its own prizes, its own winner. If you win one stage of the Tour de France, you're a legend. If you win the Tour de France, that's another, you're beyond legend. You win more than once, you win 7 years in a row, you were doping and a legend. You're the best cheater that ever lived in the history of cheating. I mean, come on. Nobody's ever cheated that good. That guy at the Coldplay concert couldn't cheat like Lance Armstrong does. So, beware. 11 kilometers, time trial. Up a mountain in the Pyrenees. Normally a time trial is like 30, 40 miles on pretty flat land, maybe some ups and downs, but it's generally where they get down in their bike like this, like you see in a triathlon, and they just go as fast as they can. But this one's just how fast can you go up that fucking mountain right in front of you? So it's 11 kilometers. Grade is about 16% at the steepest parts. That's steep. That's some steep ride. I mean, at this point, if Tadej Pogačar wins that, he's pretty much going to have the yellow jersey for the rest of the Tour de France, and it's all done. And we all know he won by now, so I'm not, I know I have not done watching it, but I knew after the first time trial that this dude was going to win the Tour de France. And that was like stage 3, I think. And where I'm watching stage 13, I'm like, I already know the guy won before he even got on his fucking bike. So, so far, the costume contest, they were showing some of the roadside costumes. In first place, I'll go in reverse order. In third place, so far, there's been 3 nominees. Third place, a whole bunch of dudes mooned the camera as the motorcycle went by, and as the peloton was going by, like 10 or 20 dudes just dropped their pants and mooned the camera. And I'm like, well, it's not really a costume, but that was fucking hysterical. You don't see that at the Super Bowl. You don't see 20 dudes get up in a whole row in the top of Jerry Jones Stadium or whatever the fuck it's called and drop their pants and moon the fucking camera when they're on the Jumbotron, do ya? But in the Tour de France, anything goes. Second place, field skiing. There was a guy, when the peloton came by, he was on fucking water skis being towed by a dirt bike on a pair of water skis gliding across a hayfield, keeping up with the bike riders, being like, hey, like waving to them as he goes by. And I'm like, holy shit. Just to think of that is pretty damn amazing. So he's second place, but first place so far, the helicopter flew over this ancient French castle. And at the top of the castle, there's a whole bunch of dudes having a fucking sword fight. Swords and shields and bang and ching, 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 ching. And King Arthur and the Round Table, all that kind of shit. Having a full-on fucking sword fight on top of a castle while the helicopter is going around and around because they couldn't even take the camera off these guys. They're like, holy shit, they weren't even like filming the bike race at this point. They're like, we're gonna watch this sword fight for a while. They're in first place. That was like, whoa, that's the craziest thing I've seen so far. 11 kilometers. I mean, you're in America probably watching this. So in American, that's 7 miles. That is that's less than 1/4 of, well, 714. So that's like 1/3. That's less than a third of my bike ride one way to the bakery, 7 miles. Normally, these guys in the Tour de France are riding 110, 120 miles a day. Today, they're going to go 7. You'd think, oh, 7 miles, who gives a shit? Oh, that's not bad. It was the shortest stage in the Tour de France history, 7 miles, shortest ever. When Lance Armstrong won or didn't win or won one of the years he was in the Tour de France, they had a time trial up Alpe d'Huez in the Alps, a similar format, time trial from the bottom to the top of the most famous mountain in the Tour de France. Today at this finish line was at a mountaintop airport on top of this mountain, and this mountaintop airport was in a James Bond movie. It was in the opening scene of Tomorrow Never Dies, and the finish line was at the end of the runway. And the runway is not flat, the runway is like that, and they had to climb up the runway to get to the finish line. If they start 2 minutes apart, Jonas Vingegaard, I don't even care how to pronounce his name. He might get caught by Tadej Pogačar, because that's how much faster Tadej Pogačar has been through the whole tour. Even though it's only 7 miles, second place in the Tour de France might get passed by the first place guy, even though they're starting 2 minutes apart from each other. The day before on stage 12, Tadej Pogačar, when he decided to attack Jonas, he didn't even get out of his seat. He just said, okay, I'm going to go fast now, and he just started pedaling faster. He didn't even, most of the time when somebody attacks, they get up out of their seat and really hammer down. Tadej was just like, okay, I'm riding fast now. And he just took the fuck off up the last mountain of the stage. And, I mean, I think he won the stage. Did he? I don't even remember. I've already forgot. But sometimes, like, one of the things I see all the time is when when they sprint to the finish line and they're battling somebody else, they go all the way to the line, because you might lose by a tire's width if you don't go hard. But when somebody's by themselves, you've seen the video of Hillary Clinton come to the finish line on her bicycle, and she goes like this before the finish line, and then she fucking falls off her bike, and her bike gets all fucked up, and then Donald Trump comes up behind her, sprinting to the finish line, passes her, and does one of these after the finish line because he beat her. It was just like the election. But you've seen that video. You all have. And that happens. That happens. Well, that was a meme created from a real video. And so I don't understand, like, sometimes these pros, they get to the finish line, even if they're like a minute ahead of the person behind them, they go like this and they slow down and they just say, and they just kind of coast to the finish line. And I'm like, if you're a professional, wouldn't you want to, like, you're going to lose like 3 seconds. Like, can't you just wait till you cross the line and then go, yay, I won? Like, hammer to that finish line. You could lose the Tour de France by 5 fucking seconds because you slowed down to celebrate your victory at the finish line. But there's a whole bunch of pavement after the finish line. You can fucking wait. I don't know. You don't see people at Daytona, in the Daytona 500, take their foot off the gas pedal because the finish line's right up there. Oh, I could just let off the gas and just coast to the finish line. No, they're like, and then they let go of the gas pedal and go, all right, I just fucking won. I don't get it. Don't let your foot off the gas until you cross that fucking line. If I was a professional bike racer, you would never see a photo of me like this before I cross the finish line, ever. You're gonna have to wait until I go across the white line, and then I'm gonna go like this. That's a professional bike racer. That's what a professional would do. Close that fucking shit and then celebrate. I don't know, but like I said, I already saw the spoilers. I know Pogacar. There were headlines accusing him of cheating and doping, and does Pogacar have a hidden motor in his bike, and all the same shit. Lance Armstrong. But see, the thing about it is, I don't even think. I mean, I can see. I don't know. I don't care. I care about it as much as I care whether the Earth is flat or round. I don't give a fuck about it. It's still fun to watch, but these cyclists right now are going so fast that the juiced up riders of Lance Armstrong's day wouldn't even be able to keep up to the time limit. There's a time limit. When the first person goes across the finish line during a stage, you have to cross that finish line a certain amount of time later, or you're disqualified and you're out of the Tour de France. Lance Armstrong would not even be able to keep up to the time limit of what these riders are doing today. But these riders aren't cheating at all, but Lance Armstrong did. You tell me the bikes got that much better, the bicycles got that much better, and the food got that much better? What are they putting in the food? Like, what are they cheating with that they don't have a piss test for? Or they're doing something. How do they hide the motor so that you can't see it in the x-ray? Something's going on. I mean, they got a tiny little battery and a tiny little motor. I don't fucking know, dude. Something's not right. But it's still fun to watch. If they're all cheating, then it's a level playing field. In fact, all the announcers, Pogacar, he crashed. The announcers stopped arguing about whether the other racer should have waited for him or not, because his lead has gotten so far ahead. He's like 3 minutes ahead of the second place Jonas. I mean, the top 5 are spread out now. I mean, Tadej could just take off again on a hill, get 2 more minutes on Jonas Vingegaard, and just keep building and building and building. It's like he doesn't even really have to try anymore. He just has to get across the finish line to keep his yellow jersey now. I was betting that the time trial was just going to shut the book on that case. Like, that was it. After the time trial, over. So this climb, this mountain, this 7 miles, you think, oh, it's just a 7-mile ride. The finish line is at 5,183 feet elevation, 16% gradient at the finish line. That runway, the airport runway that they have to climb up to the finish line, is a 16% gradient. The racers were getting to the runway, and then it takes them like another 3 or 4 minutes or whatever to get up to the top of the runway. I gotta watch that James Bond movie again, because I remember it, but I don't remember it. But I think that's a cool scene in the James Bond movie where they filmed it there. It's basically like a airport for rich assholes who want to go skiing and don't want to have to fly into town and then drive up to the mountain. They can just land their private plane on the mountain and go skiing. So that's what it's for. That's what it's there for. The Lance Armstrong mountain climb time trial was actually 20 years ago. It was 2005. I can't even believe it. It doesn't seem like it was that long ago. But I mean, Gen X, man, we're finding out all kinds of things that we thought were yesterday was 20 years ago. We're like, man, it feels like it was last month. The announcers mentioned the hill climb time trial on Alpe d'Huez, but they wouldn't mention Lance Armstrong's name in the whole segment about that. They cut him out completely But then 20 minutes later, they're like, stay tuned after the race for Lance Armstrong's commentary about the tour today. Like, come the fuck on. We can't talk about him, then we talk about him, then we can't talk about him, then we're promoting his show on NBC, and then we can't talk about him again, but now he's the commentator again. What? Make up your fucking minds. Make up your fucking minds. Tade, all the different bike riders. So on stage 12, the mountain stage, Tade rode an aerodynamic climbing bike, special bike just for climbing up mountains. Suit like lighter than the other bikes. His normal bike is painted white. This bike is just clear coat on top of carbon fiber because the paint adds 200 grams. Like that's like they strip the bike down to make it as light as it possibly can be. So there's a lot of speculation about what these riders are going to ride, and a lot of secrets. Like they won't tell the TV people what bike they're going to ride that day. I was always told aero bars, the aero bars that give you the time trial position, that they don't make a difference until you're going over 25 miles an hour. But honestly, any aerodynamic improvement to cut through the air, I think, is going to give you a better time. Because I have aero bars on my Red Rocket, and when I use them, I go faster. It's just hard to stay in that position when you're fat, because you got to be all bent over, and now I've got this big fat beer belly in front of me going, I can't do it. I can only do it for like 10 minutes max. If I'd lose 50 pounds, I could stay on them things for an hour without having to get up. But right now, they're just there. Really, the only thing they do for me right now is they hold one of my speakers out in front of me so that I can listen to music as I'm going down the road. I don't really use them for their intended purpose anymore. I just kind of hang stuff on them, and it's just kind of like a place to put shit. Turns out Tade is going to be on a regular road bike. They showed it. He was riding around on it. He wasn't even trying to hide it. He's like, no, I'm just taking a regular fucking bike. The black one, the light one. Jonas Vingegaard was the opposite. He went on a full-time trial bike with the aero bars, the aero helmet, the disc wheel on the back. Tade was like, I don't need any of that shit. Fuck it. I'm taking a regular bike. I'll beat your ass on a Huffy. That's basically what he was doing. He was going around on his bike. He didn't care who saw it. He didn't care that, like, he's like, go ahead, copy me. He's like, go get me a fucking Huffy from Walmart and I'll still kick your fucking ass today. That's basically what he was doing, telling everybody. Just showing off, like, this is my bike. I just got a regular bike. All your gadgets and all your bullshit, go ahead, try. See if you can beat me. Like this dude, Remco Evenepoel, who was in third place overall in the Tour. He is the world champion time trialist. He decided not to ride his gold time trial bike because the gold paint weighs 200 grams more than regular paint. So, because of all the little metal flakes in it and stuff. One guy wore regular socks, like ankle socks. They all have aerodynamic socks now. But this was in stage 12. One guy wore regular socks instead of the special bicycle socks that they all wear now for aerodynamics. And a bunch of people were pissed off at him for it. Red Bull, he's on the Red Bull team, and his sponsor was like, fuck you, you're wearing your fucking aerodynamic socks, or you're fired. They basically told him, he's like, don't ever fucking do that again. Especially during the time trial, you gotta wear your fucking, I don't care if you don't like the way they look, you're wearing your fucking fancy socks. So, some of these riders are going up the mountain with a 54-tooth chain ring on their bike. 54-tooth front chain ring. On my Red Rocket, my the biggest chain ring I have on any of my bikes is 53 teeth, and that's for going downhill. That's for going downhill. My biggest gear, that chain ring is for when I'm going this way, down. These guys are going up the fucking mountain in the bigger chain ring than the chain ring on my bike. Like, what the fuck chance do I got no chance against that. These bikes are so advanced now. These bikes have vibration sensors. Like, they have TPMS sensors in the bicycle wheels now. So on their dashboard, on their bike computer, they know their tire pressure, just like in your car. So if they're getting a flat tire, they don't have to feel it anymore. They just see the number. They'll get a beep, beep, beep alert that they got a flat tire. And they've got vibration sensors and all kinds of data that tells them exactly what tire pressure to use for your body weight, your speed, the road surface, and all the different factors at play, so that you can go the fastest. Within a half of a PSI. A lot of the riders, they have to wear helmets. Back in the day, none of the riders would have wore a helmet on this time trial. But now they got to wear helmets. So most of them wore regular helmets for the heat, because those time trial helmets are just a sweat box with no airflow coming in. So I personally wouldn't want to go to the race booth looking like Dark Helmet from Spaceballs with some dumbass looking helmet, or looking like I got a penis on my head. I would wear a regular helmet too. So stage 13, the tour is down to 171 riders left out of 184. Because they've either crashed out or burned out or whatever, they're out. It's like the Squid Games. You're out, you're out. It's over. Go home. Sometimes they go home in a box. So the format for a time trial is they start with last place first, and then they go backwards, 1 minute apart. Everybody starts 1 minute apart, and when the big dogs get to the show, it turns into 2 minutes apart. Somewhere in the middle, they start going 1.5 minutes apart. And they just do that to try and keep people from being able to catch up to the other riders. But they can't just sit there all day doing this. So the first batch of riders that start 1 minute apart, they're the ones that are like, who cares? Fuck them. They're going to lose the tour anyway. Let them go 1 minute apart. Let them pass each other. Let them, they're not going to win today. Generally speaking, they won't. There was an elimination time even for the time trial. If you don't, so the winner of the time trial, whatever their time is, you have a certain amount of time you have to finish it by, or you're eliminated and you're out of the Tour de France. I don't think anybody has been eliminated from the Tour de France yet from not missing the time mark or for missing the time limit. But the guy, I don't remember how to say his name either. The guy broke his finger the day before trying to grab a food bag on the side of the road going 35 miles an hour, someone holding out water bottles and food bags. He went to grab a food bag and broke his fucking finger trying to grab a bag. And so he was on the side of the road getting his finger taped up by the doctor, and he came in last place on the stage that day, but he still made the time limit. So he's still in the Tour de France, and he's riding in the time trial. Climbing that fucking mountain with a broken finger. But karma's a bitch, because he's the guy who caused a big crash on the third day, took one of the sprinters who was wearing the yellow and green jersey out of the race, and so a lot of people were pissed at him. And so he's got a broken finger now, and now he's having a hard life. So the elimination time I talked about is 33% from the winner. How does it? For the first time trial, it was 25% and nobody fell behind. So I think it's like if the winner takes an hour, so 60 minutes times 0.3 add plus 60. So the next you would have to get it, if the winner gets there in 60 minutes, you have to do it in 78 minutes or you're out. I think that's how it goes, but I don't know. There's some, I'm not 100% sure, but it's a 33% from the winning time. I don't know how they do the math on that, because that don't seem right to me, that only 18 minutes and you're out. But it could be, I don't know. It's different for different stages. For the massive mountain climbs, they're more generous because the sprinters can't make it to the finish line. The sprinters will take an extra hour to get to the finish line, and they can't just kick all the sprinters out of the Tour de France and then have no green jersey competition. So, they changed it to 40% on the day of stage 13 because they thought, like I thought, damn, that's not a lot of time. You got to be within such and such time. Oh man, but it is 7 miles. So let's say if it took 60 minutes, which it doesn't, it takes more like 25. So let's just say 25 minutes. If the winner did it in 25 minutes, 10, you'd have to do it in 35 minutes or you're out. 7 miles though. It's not like it's a 25, 30, 40 mile ride. But they have to keep the race competitive, and they still have to give those sprinters a reason to bust their ass and not get eliminated when they have the green jersey. They can't just let these sprinters take 3 hours to go the 7 miles and just dilly-dally up the hill. They got to give them something to shoot for. And they gotta light a fire under their ass whenever there's a hill to climb. In the overall standings, the accumulative time. So each day, if Tadej Pogačar is beating you by 5 minutes on day 1, and he beats you by 5 minutes every stage, by stage 10 you're 50 minutes behind Tadej Pogačar, because you're losing 5 minutes to him every day, and it adds up over. So it's a cumulative time. So there are people in the race overall that are 3 hours behind Tadej Pogačar, 3 whole hours behind him. But you're talking about a race that's 2,700 miles long. When I did the 400-mile race from Pittsburgh to Philadelphia, I think the winner got there at like 10 in the morning on Saturday, and I came in last place, rolling in at like 11 o'clock Sunday night. And I'm telling you, the guy who got there before me got there at like 9 o'clock on Sunday night, and people were coming in all day Sunday and throughout Saturday. So like there's a big window, like 400 miles can spread everybody out to their own pace. And there was like a 30-something hour difference between the winner and the loser. So a 3-hour difference in the Tour de France isn't like, that's not as crazy as a 400-mile race I did. And the thing about it, even if you're 3 hours behind in the overall standing of the Tour de France, you can still go home a legend and a winner by winning a green jersey, by winning a stage. You could win one stage, but fuck up the rest of the tour and go home a winner. And that's the cool thing about the Tour de France. It's every single person in the race, from first place to 184th place or did not finish, you're a highly accomplished, world-class cyclist, one of the best 184 riders in the world. And it's basically just a showcase and a festival of the top 184 riders in the world, all together. Some are mountain bikers, some are track cyclists, some are road racers. They come from different backgrounds, but they all get together for this race. Time trials are kind of boring to watch, because there's really nothing going on. There's no battles. There's no like drama. You're just watching a dude ride a bike up a hill. But you can see it. You know, I can watch somebody and I don't have to know what time checks are or anything. You can see by how they ride, by how fast they're going compared to the people on the side of the road, and you can get a gauge. That guy's kicking ass, and it happens. Like, you can see it. The shortest stage in the Tour de France this year could end up creating big time gaps between the racers. The first rider to cross the finish line, he didn't give a shit. It took him 30 minutes and 2 seconds. He popped a wheelie as he was coming up to the finish line and was like, yo, and he just popped a fucking wheelie and rode a wheelie across the finish line because he didn't give a shit. He had no chance of winning today. He didn't care. But the last place rider in the Tour de France, the guy who's in last place, he climbed the 7-mile mountain climb at a 16% grade to an elevation of 5,183 feet at an average speed of 13.7 miles per hour. Okay, when I go to the bakery on flat land here in Houston going 25 miles, my average speed is usually 13 miles an hour when I'm just going slow, like when I'm not trying. I can basically average 13 to 14 miles an hour going, just keeping my heart rate under the tempo zone, just in the moderate zone, and just riding along and not really pushing myself hard. This guy, the last place rider in the Tour de France, climbed a fucking mountain at 13.7 miles an hour, faster than I would go to the bakery. I would have a hard time. I don't even know, man. That's crazy. That's the last place guy. It's going so slow, he popped a wheelie at the finish line, was like, "Bia!" Like, just for the cameras. He didn't care. This other guy, Luke Plapp, he shows up with a full disc wheel on the back, which is heavy. A regular bike wheel weighs a lot less than a carbon fiber disc wheel, but the disc wheel is more aerodynamic, so we're like, okay, what's better? The guy who broke his finger, he missed the cut. He got in under the cutoff time to being disqualified from the Tour de France. He beat the cutoff time by 5 minutes with his broken finger the day before. He would have been disqualified if he showed up 5 minutes later. The guy in the jumpsuit with the PlayStation controller logo on his face from the Squid Game would have been like, game over, pop him in the head, drag him off to the organ harvesting facility in the basement. So Luke Plapp, he's flying. I mean, you could just see it. This dude was flying up the mountain. And you're like, oh my, I was watching this guy go, and I'm like, maybe that disc wheel is a thing, because he was flying. He was the first one who showed up with aero equipment and not a regular bike wheel. And I'm like, dude, like, he was flying up the mountain. You just knew he was going to do something. The sprinter, Biniam Girmay, he's way down in the standings. The sprinters can't climb. He was riding next to the side of the road, just reaching out to all the spectators, giving everybody a high five as he went by, because he didn't give a fuck about it. He's just going on a ride. He's like, hey, high five. He high-fived like 150 people in a row as he's just fucking meandering up the hill, not giving a care in the world about it. That's fun to watch. All the people on the side of the road are getting a fucking fist bump from one of the riders in the Tour. The guy with the broken finger, turns out he can't use his right brake lever anymore. He can't squeeze the brakes. He can't stop. So he's going, like, the whole stage today is uphill. He don't have to stop. He might have to squeeze the front brake a little bit to slow down. But, oh well, I can't shift. I can't use my brakes, but I'm still in it. He didn't give up. He didn't quit. That's pretty funny. I don't know if I would have showed up the next day with a broken finger, not able to stop. But worked out for him. He does have a yellow card, and he did cause that crash in the beginning of the tour. So you get down to the last 11 riders, they're going to get a 2-minute interval. That's where that 2-minute gap starts between their climbing turn. So Remco Evenepoel, he's in third place. The announcers, the TV announcers keep saying he's on a secret bike that we're not allowed to talk about until Tadej Pogačar is out on the mountain. And it's too late for Tadej to change his mind and use a different bike. So anyway, it's kind of like, you know how like in football, it's illegal to read the lips on the other coach's mouth and then tell your coach on your team, hey, they're going to run this play. Well, there's no rules like that in cycling. You see some dude on the bike that he's about to ride, you're like, hey, look at the bike he's about to ride. Maybe we should, like, it's not illegal to do that. Like football, fuck football. It's so boring. I mean, if you can read lips and you can see what the other coaches are saying, why would that be illegal to say, hey, they're going to run the wildcat or the quarterback sneak or whatever the fuck it is? Like, if you can read lips, you can read lips. Why is that illegal? Why would you get a fine from the NFL for doing that? That's why they all put the paper over their face when they talk now, because they don't want people to see what they're saying. That would be like like somehow you find out what blue 22, blue Omaha, whatever that means. Like you figure out what it means because you studied the games. And you're like, whenever Peyton Manning says Omaha, it means he's throwing it to Nebraska or whatever. Like you figure the shit out, and then all of a sudden it's illegal that you figured it out. Like it's illegal to watch the games and figure out what all the secret codes are. I don't get it, man. It's illegal to hire Rain Man to sit there and analyze all the yells and calls and go through his Rain Man brain and figure it all out and compute it down and give it to the coach and say, here's what it definitely wildcat, definitely quarterback sneak. I don't see why that's illegal. So Luke Plapp, 24 minutes and 58 seconds at an average speed now of 16.4 miles per hour to go the 7 miles. He's in first place by over 3 minutes to the next best guy. And when the time trial's going on, they have to sit in a seat called the hot seat with TV cameras pointed at them and everything, and they got to sit there until the end of the race because they get drug tested at the end of the day. So if you win the time trial, you got to go piss in a bucket, piss in a cup, whatever they make you do. And so he had to sit. There's like 3 hours left to race today, and he's in first place, like bam, in first place. And now that dude's going to have to sit in this seat for over 3 hours waiting for the race to unfold. And if somebody beats his time, then he can get up and go do his thing. But he has to sit in that chair until he gets dethroned, because they don't want you sneaking off to the team bus to take a pill or to do something or to drink a whole bunch of water so that your pee is all watered down or whatever. They don't want you to go do something that you can beat the drug test. So they make you sit there till they know you didn't win. So the guy in first place now, crazy, man. He is faster, 16.4 miles an hour going up a 7-mile climb on a mountain at 16% grade than my average speed is on flat land going to the bakery. For me to average 16.4 miles an hour, I would have to be going all out. Because some of the ride, like sometimes I ride home 25 miles, I can average, my average speed will say I'm at 19 miles an hour. but then I'll hit a slower section, or I'll go into the wind, or I'll be going on like the rolling up and down, like that kind of stuff, and all of a sudden my speed drops down. Now it's like 15 miles an hour. Now it gets down to like 14.9, and I'm fighting to keep it above 15. That's pretty much where I'm at right now. That's been the last few rides. I think there have been a couple of rides where I averaged closer to 20. Back when I was young, I used to be able to average 20 all day long, but I can't. But I'm fat. I'm like, I weigh more. You know, I'm old. All that stuff. So it's a little harder now. I'd probably average 5 miles an hour in that fucking time trial. Maybe 7. It would probably take me 58 minutes to go up that hill. I don't even know if I could go that 7 miles in an hour. 7 miles, I could probably suck it up and like give it all I got. But I'm not doing that shit in half an hour. I can tell. I know I'm not doing it in half an hour. Right now, the average speed of the Tour de France overall is faster than it's been in the last 5 years. It's fast. They're going faster than all the doped up, roid raging rock stars from the mid 90s to the end of the early 2000s, Lance Armstrong era. But they're clean and they're not cheating. I can't believe it. Oh, the bicycles got so much better. I don't know about that. I mean, if they are, I know that if I rode one of those bicycles instead of mine, it would make me faster. No doubt about it. I'd average 18 to 22 miles an hour somewhere in there just being on one of those bikes. The King of the Mountains, Lenny Martinez, he tied for the King of the Mountains with Tadej Pogačar, who might sweep all 3 jerseys. He brought a disc wheel. So we'll see what that guy's gonna do. And basically, they're tied, but they gave the jersey to Tadej Pogačar, but Lenny has to wear it because he's in second place, and Tadej has the yellow jersey, I think. I don't even remember. I honestly don't remember what's going on that day. This was a while ago. I'm talking about this, and I'm not even, I'm so far into this video now that I think I'm just gonna have to say peace out, and I'm gonna have to continue the wrap up of stage 13 the next time I do a video, because it's getting late. This video is long, so I'll keep talking about the Tour de France, and I'll give you some information that you might not hear anywhere else. But I also want to talk about other things. And with that, I'm just going to say peace out, and we'll talk again.